inferring from your comments that you believe that local control is important for improving the system. And I can think of like Singapore, Finland, Japan, Australia are all top 5 school systems in the world, and that they're more centralized control. I'm wondering if there's an empirical reason you think local control is important, or and or B, maybe there's something special about California that makes you think that it's important.
Let me explain what I mean by local control. I mentioned national standards earlier. I think the federal government should have standards that say that this is how we want American kids doing, and then the state can fill in on those more, because I think given the United States is different than all those other countries you mentioned, you still want to keep it a state-by-state system. So the federal government and then the state government certainly have a role in saying, if as a country, this is what we want kids to know. This is, this is, 3rd graders need to be able to read at this level. A kid graduating from high school needs to be at a certain standard, and that's a very critical role. It's also a critical role for the state and the feds to some degree to make sure that we're not being really we're being equal. That by equal I mean that every kid's got a fair shot, and so that there's funding that goes to kids who otherwise wouldn't get it, and Title I at the federal government, those efforts. So that's a role for the federal, and then certainly a state role. But then stop. What we have today is legislators introducing the School Safety Act for California. To tell a school in Eureka and a school in East Los Angeles and a school on the coast side and a school in Bakersfield how to make their school safe and assume it's the same thing is bizarre. For the state to say the amount of the passing minutes allowed at a school, for the state to tell you how your school can be painted, that's insane. For teachers to have to, and principals to have to spend all their time thinking about this requirement, that requirement, filling out paperwork. So by local control, I mean standards set from above, so everyone's got some sense of this is what we got to do, accountability from there, but then do it. And if you want to do it this way, do it that way. If you want to do it that way, do it that way. So great superintendents and teachers and administrators are like, okay, this is what we got to do. We're smart, we're good, we're professionals, let's figure out how to do it. And not spend their time saying, okay, we're going to check off SB 2963 and check off 243. So that's what I mean by local control. One of the other problems we've had in education politics is people don't think like parents. And maybe one of the reasons the presidents have been more together on this is they're all parents, and they've had, they're actually, I can't speak for all, but they all seem to have been pretty good parents at the last 4 presidents. And so you're a parent, you're going to do what's best for your kid. That you're going to do what's best for your kid, and every parent feels that way. And it really bothers me when people say, oh, those poor parents, they don't know, and everyone wants to right for their kids. And so I don't think you ever could or ever should stop a community from saying, I want some more, and I'm going to donate some more to the schools. And the idea that the state's going to step in and say, no, you can't do that, and take that away, to me, that's just impossible. That doesn't mean, though, that we're talking about government funding, that we can try to distribute that more equally, and I think there's a way. So I don't have a problem with foundations and private donations going to support your kid. I do have a problem with people who do that also saying money has nothing to do with it, because obviously they're donating money to improve their kids' education, so then they should also be paying taxes to improve others. But I don't think the government should be trying to make everything exactly equal. I think the government should be trying to ensure that every kid has a shot, and that means making sure that there's a basic level. And that means that kids in need are going to need more money, and that's where the state and feds need to step in and to provide that extra support. So
Prop 13, do you think it will ever be reversed? Why or why not? And here on the coast side, we've been trying to have a partial tax passed several times, and we've failed.
Yes.
Based on your vast experience, what are we not doing to get this thing passed?
Okay, well, the second question first. It didn't fail. It got more than a majority of votes. It's just because of this crazy requirement for a 2/3 vote, it didn't get that. I don't think you're doing anything right. I think let me just put it this way, having represented the coast for 4 years on the Board of Supervisors and 8 years in the Assembly, the coast is tougher than a lot of other areas politically. I mean, I had to spend a lot more time out here than I did other places. So getting 2/3 vote on the coast is tough. And the fact that you come so close, I don't think you're necessarily doing anything wrong. It's just tough, and that 2/3 requirement is tougher. And you know, I guess the only thing I can say is any kind of opposition kills a parcel tax, and so to try to diffuse that opposition, but I don't think it's that folks are doing something wrong. In terms of your first question, will Prop 13 be totally overturned? No. Can it be changed? Yes. Do I think it can be? Yes. Why? Because it already was, essentially, in the voters' minds. In 2000, there was an initiative on the ballot that I was very involved with, and Lenny and some of you here helped with, and that was to say, rather than a 2/3 vote for facilities bonds locally,